If this is the year you want to save money, achieve your financial goals, and break free from overconsumption, consider committing to a low spend year. Whether you want to build better spending habits, maybe you want to shop with more intention, or just reduce your environmental impact, a low spend year can help you take control of your finances and live more mindfully. Today, I'm going to share what a low spend year is, why we should do it, and how to succeed at it. I'll also talk about some low spend activities we can consider for further success. By the way, my name is Carly. On this channel, I talk about living intentionally. I share videos around personal finance, and I also talk about the business side of modeling. So if you're interested in any of those topics, please don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss my weekly videos. First off, a low buy year doesn't mean that we're not buying anything. I think that's a little bit too restrictive in my mind, and I don't really like to restrict myself. To me, low buy means spending only on essentials and cutting out any other unnecessary purchases. The point is to consciously reduce purchases for a set amount of time. In this case, we're setting the time period to be a year, but in reality, it can be for however long you want it to be. Personally, I have found that low buy or low spend is more of a lifestyle for me. And that's simply because of where I am in life right now, which is to say, currently with no 9-to-5 income and moving apartments every couple of years. Overall, that means I'm motivated to spend less money on fewer things. I like to break down our expenses into 3 categories: overhead expenses, intentional expenses, and non-priority expenses. So as far as what we can buy in a low buy year, we are including overhead expenses. I would define this category as all of the essential expenses for maintaining our day-to-day existence. So this includes necessities like groceries, rent, medical expenses, loan repayments, etc. Intentional expenses are also included in our low buy year. These are expenses that aren't strictly necessary for survival, but are permitted because they align with our values, goals, and/or overall well-being. So to me, this includes a gym membership, replacing items that don't work anymore that you continue to use on a regular basis, or experiences that you believe truly bring you joy. Different people's intentional expenses will be different, so you have to decide what will work best for you. Our goal here is to be mindful of our spending without being in a state of deprivation. So ultimately, we cut back on unnecessary spending. Honestly, this might also be an area where we examine what our allowable intentional expenses are and see if they actually are areas in which we do want to continue spending money. And finally, we have our non-priority expenses. So this is what we will no longer be spending money on. This area might include new clothes, any sort of impulse purchases, maybe the newest gadgets, fast food, whatever it may be. This is extraneous spending that didn't actively make our lives better, and when push comes to shove, we can largely do without. I feel like whenever I embark on a new lifestyle change, it's really important for me to know why I'm doing it. So let's talk about why we should partake in a low buy year. I constantly share on this channel about how overconsumption traps us in a cycle of unfulfillment. Many people earn a salary that is based on clocking into work. Many people also don't love their jobs. When you spend your income on buying things that don't truly fulfill you, and you make money in a linear fashion, which is to say every hour you put in is worth X amount of money, you are by definition spending your life buying things that don't fulfill you. I cover this point more in depth in my video about how overconsumption is keeping you in the rat race, which you can check out here. But at the end of the day, low buy is a great opportunity to look for fulfillment in areas other than buying and consuming, which is largely the message that we are marketed as consumers. Low buy will be a great opportunity to challenge ourselves around social pressures, temptations, and overall building better habits around the impulse to add things to our collection of items. Actually, I'm curious to know what your reasoning is for doing a low buy year, so please let me know in the comments down below if you feel so inclined to share. Now let's talk about how to succeed at low buy. I would first examine any areas where we are spending money without even thinking about it. The area I always look to first is my subscription purchases. Subscriptions are generally charged to my credit card, so I don't even think about when I am actively paying for these subscriptions, aside from when I first sign up for them. And honestly, that's why they're such a popular business model, because as consumers, we may continue to pay for these services even when we no longer get value out of them. So for your low buy year, I would suggest canceling any subscriptions you are no longer using. I also like to delay my purchases by creating a wish list. Anytime I come across something I want to buy, I add it to my wish list and I simply make a note that it's an item I want. I find that within a few weeks, I don't want the item as aggressively as I did when I first discovered its existence. I also think that one thing that isn't always on the top of our minds is the fact that lots of opportunities to buy whatever catches our eye will almost always come around again. In the US, we live in a capitalistic society. Businesses want our money. And because of that, we get messages that things are available for a limited time. Discounted prices are available for a limited time. All of those strategies are used to get us to purchase today. I would much rather wait for a purchase and know with complete certainty that it was something I truly wanted, rather than buy something haphazardly because I was scared that I wouldn't have the opportunity to later on. The fact of the matter is, discounted prices will probably occur again, and for limited edition items, there is always the option to buy secondhand. And when these sales do happen, you can take a look at your wish list to see if there are any of the items on there that make sense to purchase during a sale. If you are purchasing because of some sense of urgency, I would encourage you to take a step back and evaluate how this purchase will fit into your life and actively make your life better. When we start partaking in consumer culture, it may feel like we don't have as many opportunities to have fun. It seems like the norm for making friends, maintaining friendships, and even decompressing from a week of work involves some element of going out to eat or grabbing drinks or doing some activity where we pay money. You may find that this is one area that is considered an intentional expense for you. And if you've done that analysis for yourself and have come to that conclusion, that's totally fair. If, however, you find that you want to cut back on these types of activities, think about spending an afternoon doing errands with a friend, or maybe go over to someone's home to hang out. You can also spend time learning a new skill or exploring a neighborhood by yourself. Also consider checking out local free events. Those can be really fun as well. A low buy year doesn't have to be and actually shouldn't be restrictive for us. In fact, personally, I have found that I prefer having fewer items and spending less money at this point in my life. With every dollar I save and have saved, I try to make my money work for me by simply investing it into the stock market. So for a low spend year, we are going to only spend in our essential and intentional expenses categories. At the same time, we will restrict our spending around our non-essentials. And some strategies we can keep in mind for succeeding at a low buy year is to delay any purchases by adding them to a wish list. And also keep in mind that many opportunities to buy something, whether it's a limited edition thing or something at a great price point, will probably come around again. If you like this video, I think you would also love this video on how overconsumption is hurting more than just your wallet.